Welcome back to video clip 5, and this is the final video clip. So with this video clip, we really get to target probably one of the topics that people struggle with the most when they're learning Excel, but it is by far the most useful topic that we can actually look at. And this is how to actually use formulas in Excel. So we're going to jump straight in and we're going to start having a look at some data here. So I've gone ahead and whipped up this table here, and this is a basic weekly maths test table, and I've gone through and copied my kids' names in. I've got weeks 1 to 5, and I've gone through and added some data in. And I've just randomly generated some data in there for how the kids are going. But now what I want to do is I want to be able to deal with this data so I don't have to go through and add it up myself and put in totals and work out percentages and look at the average here for how each week's gone. I want the computer to do all of this stuff for me. And this is what formulas is all about. So let's just jump straight into my first cell here. We're going to start looking at working out the total, just simply adding up all of these. Now, the first thing you need to know about formulas is you always start a formula with the equals symbol. Equals actually lets Excel know that you are now dealing with a formula. It now needs to work out a mathematical equation to be able to then put that in that cell. And what do we want to do? Well, we simply want to add up everything that's in this column. So I'm going to go through and type the word sum in here, because we're just doing an addition sum. Open my bracket, and you can see here underneath it's talking about where do we want to start and where do we want to finish. So I'm just going to start here, I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag across, and what I'm saying is I want you to add up everything that's in this box that I've just dragged. I can press enter, or I can click the enter button here. I'm just going to go ahead and press the enter button, and straight away you can see that when it adds up all of that, it equals 20. And if I was to change that, if Hope actually scored 5 in the first week there, you can see it's just updated it straight to 25. Now, do I need to go through and press equals and type in sum? And like we can do it again here, just so you can see, we type in sum, we open bracket, we've got to remember to open bracket. We click and we drag across, and we can see we want to start at B4. We're starting at B4, and we're coming through to F4, and we're stopping there at F4. I don't necessarily have to close the bracket. Excel's smart enough to know to. I'm just going to press enter, and there we go, 19. But I don't want to do that all the way down. We're always looking for the easiest way to do something in Excel. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to use that skip count feature that we had, which is this little square here. And I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to drag it out. And there we go. It's gone through, and it's actually put that sum all the way down. And you can see here, as it's gone down, it's actually changed where it's looking for the sum. So we're on line 21, so it's looking at line 21. It's on line 22, it's looking at line 22. It's very clever in how it does that. And that's just saved us a whole lot of time. And now we've got the kids' data going up real time. And if I was to, let's say, we were only at week 4, if I was to get rid of that, because we haven't done week 5 yet, it'll actually track it week by week. So I'll just go ahead and pop that back. The undo is up here, but in that particular place, I pressed Control Z. Control Z is undo as well. And I think if I hover over, you see it'll say it there, Control Z. Now next I want to work with is average. So how do I go about adding the average in? Well, we do exactly the same thing. We come down here and we need to tell it that we want to do a formula, so we start by pressing equals. Now what formula do we want to do? Well, I want to do an average formula. So I'm just going to start typing the word average. And this is a really good way, you can see straight away there it is there, average. This is a really good way to find if Excel has a function already inbuilt to do what you want. Just start typing it in. There's a good bet that Excel will already have that function inbuilt. So rather than finishing it off, I'm just going to click on it there, and it's finished the rest off for me. Now it's asking me what numbers am I averaging up. Well, I want to average all of week 1. So I'm going to select week 1 and I'm going to hit OK, and there we go. So on average, the kids scored 4.8 out of 10. Then we come across to week 2, and again, I can press equals and type in average, but as we saw before, we don't want to do that. I just want to grab that little square, drag it along, and there we go. So you can see progressively, even with random numbers just slotted in, the kids did better mostly as they went on, which is certainly the type of data that you want to see. So now we've got average done. Now we've got total done by using sum and by using average. There's one other key one that I want to have a look at, and that is just simply using mathematical sums as we would, on a board. So I just simply want to add, let's say, these two numbers together. So I'm just going to come along here. I'm going to press equals, saying that it's that we're now dealing with a formula. And I want to say, take whatever is in E3, and I'm just going to say plus whatever's in F3. And you know what? Just to show you something different, I'm going to minus now 2 off whatever that was. So 4 plus 5 is 9, minus 2 should equal 7. And there we go. And if I was to go ahead and change that, we can see straight away it'll update it automatically. And then if I wanted to extrapolate that out across everything else, there we go. But I'll just undo that. So that's plus and minus, and we can go ahead and we can just add as many. That equation can be as long as you like. What about times and divide? So again, I'm going to go equals, and I'm going to say I want to times these two together. So I'm going to go E3. Now the times is the star symbol, and you'll find that as Shift 8. So it's the one sitting on the 8 key. That's times. It's not X, because X will register as a character, so as a piece of text, not as the times symbol. So it's the star. And what do I want to times? Well, I want to times F3. Click OK, and there we go, 25. Same if I want to divide. So I'll go equals, and I'm going to divide 10. And I'm going to this time, now divide, you'll notice there isn't the symbol for divide on the keyboard. So on the question mark key, you'll find the slash. And it's that slash. Now it's not the backslash that often lives above enter. It's the forward slash that lives at the question mark key. And I'm going to divide it by 2. And there we go, we've got 5. Now what if I did it the other way around? What if I did the 2 divided by 10? You can see it'll grab the decimal point. And you say, well, wait a second, I don't want to have decimal points. I just want to have the whole number, which in this case would round down to 0 anyway. But up here, remember, we can go through and we can add and take away our decimal places there. But we'll leave that as is. Actually, we're going to go ahead and delete all of that, because this is what we need to know for percentage. So, just to remember, plus is the normal plus, subtraction is the minus as normal, times is the star, and divide is the slash, which when I go to put it in, there we go. There's the times there, the divide, sorry, which is the slash. Now there is one other as well, which is actually the percentage, and that one's for grabbing the remainder. So if it's actually 0.2 was the remainder, it'll actually just return the remainder itself without the point, so it'll just be 2. But we don't really need to know that one too often. That one's called modular. But let's deal with percentage. So how do we work out percentage? Well, when we want to work out percentage, we start with equals because we're doing a formula. And to work out percentage, normally we take the score that we've got and we divide that by the total. Now the total for all 5 weeks is 50. Now normally we times by 100 here, but here's the problem if we times by 100. So I'll go ahead and times by 100. We've got the score 52, but that's not 52%. That's just the number 52. 52% is actually 0.52. That's 52%. So I'm going to go through and drag that out across all of them. And there we go. Now what I'm going to do is go up and click on percentage. And that's going to turn it to the formatting I want to see, which is percentage. Line it up, and there we go. I might line that up as well. And now we have a very, very useful set of data as we're working through week by week. We've got our total here, we've got our percentage, we've got our average. We can see the whole class improving week by week. Now we say, well, wait a second. Now I want a little bit more data. I want to do the conditional formatting, so we can quickly go through and we can do that up. So I'm just going to go through, choose, actually you might do it on both of them, choose conditional formatting. I think I prefer this one here. Oh, it's grabbed percentage as 0 because we've grabbed 2 lines there. So I'm going to do that one there, and straight away we can see which kid's struggling, which are doing well, which are okay. And in that particular case, actually, I don't think I like it. I am going to go through and add maybe a little bit more color to it. There we go. There we go. And then same if we wanted to along the bottom there. But now that's quite a relevant set of data there. So just remember, we've got the sum. Because I didn't add any data there. We've got the average. And then we've just got the plus, minus, times, and divide as the basic ones you're going to use. Now, just to finish this off, up here under formulas, here is where you'll find every single formula that Excel has. So it does far more than just the basics. We can go right into trigonometry. We can go right. So there's cos, sine, tan. There's all basically a lot of stuff there that I suppose for the purposes we're using, we wouldn't use too many of them. You've also got text. Now this one you might find that you'll be using. So you can actually go through and, for instance, you can join text together. You can only read the left-hand side of the text. So for instance, if you've got, you only want to pick up the first 3 letters of a name to actually create a username, you can do that. There's all the last few letters being the right side of it. Joining text together is always a good one. So if you want to join a first name and a last name together, you can do that by doing that one there. You've got your logical if, not, or, and. So that one there's a little bit more like computer programming if you know how to computer program. You've got financial ones there. And then this is just the ones that we've recently used. So they're all the ones I've recently used in projects I've been doing. So have a bit of a look through those. But just remember, all of these pop up once you press equals and you start typing to find out if something's there that you want. So if I say, well, I do want to do sum, I type in sum and then up comes everyone with the word sum in it. Okay, well that brings us to the end of the introduction to Excel video clips. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot from it. If you do want to catch up with me, and please feel free to come and grab me, and we can spend some time together. If not, enjoy.